Woke, woke, there are so many things going on around, you must take heed. It's been written and prophesied about, so you must believe. Not everything that glitters is gold, pay attention as it's been told. Join us every Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern with Brother Yusuf as he tackles and breaks down current events, current news and politics, and the Islamic Ummah. Please join us, streaming on all major platforms. Channel SunnahFollowers.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Before we begin, I want to remind everybody, please don't forget to join us this Thursday at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dr. Daniel Abdul Rahman McBride, he's going to be speaking about the human brain and how it correlates and connects to religion and the month of Ramadan. You don't want to miss that class, that lecture. And also on Friday, we're going to have Brother Yusuf speaking again about the world events that impact us as a nation, the Muslim 2.0 generation now. So those are the two things, other classes for this week that I don't want you guys to forget about, because what those brothers are sharing, the information that they're sharing with us goes hand in hand with what we're learning in my Aqidah classes. And so with that said, let's get started on this class. This is our class on the prayer. And tonight, what I'm going to do is answer the question that many of you have asked, which is the prayer of the traveler. How do we shorten and combine prayers or whatnot? So let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen and we can get right into it, because I know a lot of you have some things to do and it's late for some of you. Okay. Inshallah, you can see my screen. So we're going to be covering the prayer of the traveler. And just like Allah makes exceptions during the month of Ramadan from fasting, we'll be fasting this week, beginning at the end of this week. And, some of us will be exempt, or some of us can be exempted if we travel. Well, there's also exemptions with the prayer. We have to still pray whether you're traveling or not, but Allah has made it easy for us. Listen to what Allah says in the Quran, in the interpretation, the meaning. He says, when you go forward in the land, there is no sin upon you if you shorten your prayer when you fear the unbelievers may attack you. Now, when you read this verse of the Quran, there are some Muslims out there who say that they're Muslim, but they don't believe in the hadiths. They will take this verse to mean literally what it says: if you fear the disbelievers may attack you. So they'll say, well, this is speaking about if you're in battle, if you're fighting. No. As Muslims, we're always in a situation of danger, because you never know what's going to happen when you walk around that corner. Okay. So this verse is not just restricted to situations of danger. And I'm going to give you the dalil for this. But again, you have to believe Muhammadur Rasulullah. When we become Muslim, We declare La ilaha illallah. That's just the first part of the testimony of faith. We also say Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have to believe in the hadiths. You have to believe in the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As the Aisha radiallahu anha said, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a walking, talking Quran. His sunnah, the things he said, the things he did are the explanations of the Quran. So pay attention to this hadith. One of the companions said, I went to Umar and I asked him, I said, explain to me why the people shorten their prayers. When Allah says to shorten them, you know, if you fear the unbelievers may attack you. This companion said, those days are gone now. We're no longer having to worry about being attacked by the Quraysh. Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, said, I thought about that too. And I went to the Prophet Muhammad and I asked him about it. And he said, this is a charity from Allah that he has bestowed upon us. So accept his charity, accept his concessions. This is a concession. The things that Allah does not mention are all lawful and they're concessions. And the Prophet was saying here too, this is a concession as well. So, and I tell you all the time, no one can overrule what Umar said. No one living on this planet today understands this religion better than those original companions did. And there's no question that any of us can come up with today that was not already addressed by these companions and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is the clear evidence that verse is not just confined to war times. Whenever you travel on the land or whenever you travel about the world, you can shorten your prayers because you never know what's going to happen from one second to another. Also, we have another hadith from Ibn Umar. Ibn Umar, he was approached by another companion who mentioned this verse. And Ibn Umar said, we are safe now and are not in fear. And the man said, well, since we are safe and are not in fear, can we still shorten the prayer? And Ibn Umar said, you have indeed in the Prophet Muhammad a best example of conduct. In other words, yes. Yes, you can. And who was Ibn Umar? Ibn Umar was the son of Umar. He was one of the original companions. He was one of the companions that the Prophet made dua for, asking Allah to give him an understanding of the Quran. So I don't care what these people of 2025 have to say. I keep telling y'all, we're living in the days of the Ruwaybida. These people don't know what they're talking about. You don't have to be at war to shorten your prayers. All you have to do is be a traveler. And also we have this authentic hadith from Aisha, radiallahu anha, one of the mothers of the believers. She said the prayer was made obligatory in Mecca in sets of 2 rakats. When the Prophet migrated to Medina, 2 extra rakats were added to each prayer except for Maghrib, because it is the odd number, the odd time of the day, and also except for Fajr due to its lengthy Quranic recital. But if a person travels, he performs the original prayer, which is only 2 rakats. So here Aisha, and this hadith is authentic. And so here we can see that even Aisha explained that, you know, when we travel, we can go back to praying the 4 rakat prayers in sets of 2s, and Maghrib as 3 and Fajr as 2. So these are the clear evidences, the clearness about that. So you don't have to be at war to shorten your prayers. All you have to be is a traveler. Listen to what Ibn al-Qayyim says. He says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would pray only 2 rakats for those prayers, which consisted of 4 rakats whenever he traveled until he returned back to Medina. So if the prophet was was traveling from from Medina to Mecca, he shortened his prayers, and he kept shortening them until he came back home to Medina. Okay. And also Ibn al-Qayyim says it is not confirmed that he ever prayed 4 rakats while traveling. And none of the 4 imams differ on this point, although they do differ about the ruling of shortening the prayer. So here we can see whether they differ on it or not. We follow the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, not the sunnah of the 4 imams anyway. So whether they differ or not, whenever the prophet would leave Medina to travel anywhere, he always shortened his prayers until he came back home. And why do I say I don't care what the E4 Imam said? Look who else said this. This is also what Umar, Ali, Ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas, Ibn Umar, and Jafar said. In fact, they said it's obligatory. They said it's obligatory to shorten your prayers when you travel. Y'all see this? And again, no one understands this religion better than those original companions. And these are all original companions. The Prophet Muhammad made dua for Ibn Masud, Ibn Umar, and Ibn Abbas, asking Allah to bless them all with a great understanding of the Quran. And Umar, radiallahu anha, he will be the 2nd person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad. And Ali, will be the the 4th person to enter paradise after the Prophet Muhammad. So when they speak, everybody else shuts up. So I don't want to hear what your madhab said. Okay? The companions have spoken. And when it comes to our religion, our belief in this religion should match theirs, not contradict it. So now that brings us to the question that many of you ask and people argue about because of the madhabs. How far do I have to be from my home to shorten? Okay. Well, that verse that we read in the Quran, that verse does not mention anything about a time limit or a distance. It just says whenever you travel. The word travel would suffice to shorten your prayer or to combine them or to break the fast. A simple fact that you're traveling. There is nothing in the Sunnah which confines this general term to any particular meaning. Ibn al-Mundir and others have mentioned more than 20 hadiths on this point, and we're going to go over some of them right now. For example, look at the sources. This source includes also Imam Muslim. Yahya ibn Yazid, he said, I asked Anas ibn Malik about shortening the prayer. And he said the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would shorten, the Prophet would pray 2 rakats if he had traveled a distance of 3 miles or a farsakh. And as Ibn Hajar says, this is the most authentic hadith, which states and clarifies that. So this is just 3 miles. Okay. Also, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, one of the original companions, he said if the Prophet traveled a distance of 1 farsakh, 1 farsakh, what's 1 farsakh? That's 1 mile. If he traveled the distance of 1 mile, 1 mile, he would shorten his prayer. And this too is authentic. Okay. Also, we have another hadith from Anas when he says that the shortest distance to which the prophet would shorten his prayer was 3 miles. That's what he knew. That's what Anas saw. That's what he seen the prophet do. But Abu Sa'id al-Khudri says he saw him shorten it at 1 mile. He saw him and was with him at 1 mile. Okay? So, if the distance is 1 mile or more, that's what the companions agree upon shortening. If it's less than 1 mile, then they say that you shouldn't shorten it, because the prophet would go to visit the graveyard of El Baki to bury the dead, and he never, or to answer the call of nature, and he did not shorten his salat. And that was a mile away. That was less than a mile away. So if it's less than 1 mile, there's no need to shorten it. But if it's 1 mile or more, then you shorten it. Everybody gets that? And this is from the companions. I don't care what the 4 imams say. So I'm letting you brothers out there, you think that you know this deen, you muftis, y'all call yourselves muftis today. Don't send me no fatwas from Islam Q&A. Don't send me no fatwas from the 4 imams or the 12ers or whatever y'all got. Don't send me Sheikh Google's answer, because no one out trumps those original companions. When they speak, everybody else go sit down. So if you're traveling 1 mile or more away from your home, then you can shorten your prayers. Everybody got that? Now, when can I begin to shorten my prayer? Do I have to wait until I'm traveling, or can I do it now that I know I'm traveling? Well, the correct answer is you can shorten your prayer either way. You can wait till you leave your home to shorten it. Okay, or you can do it before you leave, because we have hadiths of that too. Now we have this one hadith from Ibn al-Mundir. He says, I do not know of the prophet shortening his prayer during any of his travels until after he left Medina. Okay, but there are other hadiths that show where Ibn Abbas, for one, says that he himself used to shorten his prayer even before he left his home, when he knew he was traveling. Yes, and some of the early scholars follow that view. They say if a person has the intention to travel, he can shorten his prayer even if he is still in his house. So it's up to you, based on what the companions said. Some would do like the prophet and wait till after they left Medina. Then some would do it in their home before they left. So either way is acceptable. Does everybody understand that? Because there's evidence to support both. All right. Now, this brings us to the last point. If I am a traveler, how long can I combine and shorten? The correct answer is as long as you are a traveler. It's not based on a certain amount of days. I know a lot of people like to follow the Imam's view, one of the 4 madhabs view of after 4 days. But we have authentic hadiths here. Authentic hadiths here that prove that the prophet would continue to shorten his prayer until he came back home. As Ibn al-Qayyim says, the prophet of Allah stayed in Tabuk for 20 days. And during that time, he shortened his prayer. And he did not say that a person may not shorten it if he stays longer than that. Okay? Also in Bukhari, Ibn Abbas again. Ibn Abbas said the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during some of his journeys, for 19 days, he would pray only the 2 rakats of the 4. If we stayed in a place for 19 days, we would not pray the complete prayer. However, if we stayed longer than that, then we would perform the whole prayer. Okay? Everybody see that? Other companions say that Ibn Abbas was referring to the Prophet's stay in Tabuk. The Prophet stayed in Tabuk for 20 days and performed the shortened prayer. We have another hadith, another companion. He said, we stayed with Sa'id in some of the cities of Syria for 40 days. And Saud would perform the shortened prayer while we offered the whole prayer. Y'all see that? Ibn Umar, he was an Azerbaijan, however you pronounce that, for 6 months, and there was snow blocking the road, and he would pray the 2 rakats. This was 6 months. Okay? Anas ibn Malik, he stayed in Syria for 2 years, and he prayed the prayer of a traveler for the whole 2 years. All these hadiths are authentic. Here's another one from Anas. The companions of the Prophet stayed in Ram Hormuz for 7 months, and they shortened their prayers. And here's El Hassan. He was the grandson of the Prophet. He said, I stayed with Abdul Rahman ibn Sumura for 2 years in Kabul, and he shortened his prayer, but he did not combine it. So there's the dalil, guys. I mean, come on. As long as you... Oh, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. I'm sorry. Don't let me... Oh, I'm on 2 computers. Oh, hit the wrong button. How did that come on, y'all? I don't know what I'm doing. Wait a minute. How do I got 2 computers here? Okay, hold on. Oh, that's this one. I'm sorry. Okay, good. All right. Woo, I was going to say, I'm on 2 cameras. Okay, so the bottom line is you can shorten your prayer as a traveler as long as you are a traveler, as long as you are not settled. If you're living out of a hotel, that's not settled. You can shorten your prayers as long as you are living out of that hotel. But now if I'm going to stay with my mother, that's something a little different. I get settled. I can, if I want to, I can go ahead and do the whole prayer. But these are things that we should not fight about, because as you can see, there's authentic dalil, authentic evidence from the companions to show that they did. Some did this, some did that. So Allah left it as a concession for us. My situation might be different than yours. Okay, it might be easier and better for me to shorten the whole time that I'm gone. Okay, your situation might be easier. So these type of issues we shouldn't debate about, fight about, call each other kafirs and all that, like you see these brothers doing on YouTube and Twitter and all that, because they're following what one companion did or as another. All right. Okay. So I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions or comments?
Thank you for clarifying that, Sister Laila, because sometimes I go and visit in Morocco and I stay for a couple of months, like 3 months, and I always feel like, okay, when do I stop shortening my prayer, or do I do the full prayer? So I'm always confused about that.
It's based on, it's up to you. I mean, if you're not settled, you don't feel settled, then you can continue to shorten. Okay. Hold on for a second, guys. I gotta take this. Hold on. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, let me cut this screen. Well, I'm done. I just finished. Hold on. Okay, guys. Inshallah, no questions. You brothers got your dalil. Y'all took a copy of all those hadiths. Don't tell me what the 4 imams said. I don't care. When the companions speak, the rest of them shut up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. And for people